the deep state worked tirelessly to make Donald Trump look bad. We also know this same group of actors, Trump haters, if you will, use their connections, their positions of authority to cover up the Hunter Biden laptop story. Your film goes into this in detail. How much coordination are you aware of that was going on between the alphabet agencies and the social media companies to cover up the Biden story?
The coordination is extensive and is now well documented. At the time it happened, the nature of how it worked was not so clear. There was assumed to be some coordination, but no one really knew how much. A major breakthrough came when Elon Musk bought Twitter, now X, and exposed through the Twitter files the way that the government was working with Twitter. Because obviously the government was working in the same way with Facebook and with Google and with YouTube. Now, the censorship continues really at YouTube and at Google. The Supreme Court is going to take up a case next spring, which might squash this stuff. It won't end censorship, by the way, but it will remove the grubby hands of the government from the censorship process. And that will alone be some progress. So, you know, for people who haven't been following it, the digital platforms opened up massive kind of windows or portals, and the government would just drop massive amounts of data into those portals. These are the 8,000 people who need to be banned on COVID. These are the 15,000 people who have been talking about election fraud. So in other words, we're not talking about the government proposing one-offs, like let's get rid of Jordan Peterson or let's get rid of Dinesh D'Souza. They have been combing the web and pulling up thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of names for people to be restricted, shadow banned. And sometimes this is being done without your knowledge. And you think your channel is marching along just fine. And then you realize, wait a minute, only 7 people are seeing what I post.
Wow. I didn't realize it was even to that extent. I covered the Twitter files on my show, but you're saying it was in the thousands of people that they were just dumping massive amounts of blacklist data?
Hundreds of thousands of people. In other words, what happens these days is there's a whole academic industry of professors who purport to be experts in misinformation. Now, it's interesting how one qualifies to get that kind of a title. But nevertheless, what these guys do is they follow accounts like mine and other people too, and not all big accounts, small accounts too. And they compile these lists. Now, the Biden administration then takes these lists and sorts them by category. So if it's supposed to be like, let's just say, a health misinformation, it goes to the CDC. If it is in misinformation regarding elections, it may go to this group called CISA, the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Agency. And so you have multiple agencies of the government involved, not 2 or 3, more like 50. And what these agencies then do, they are reluctant to go directly to the digital platforms, although they sometimes do, because that's a little bit too blatant a violation of the First Amendment. So they will often hand over these names to middlemen, like the Stanford Internet Observatory or the Virality Project. And then the middlemen go to the digital platforms, almost like they're the courier of the blacklisted names of people. And then the digital platforms sort of do the deed and either restrict you or ban you or pull down your whole channel altogether. So notice that censorship in America is not just done by the state. It is an octopus stretching across the public and the private sector both.
Wow.